The only real estate related live show 5 days a week in the entire Bay Area and growing rapidly. Thank you all for the support and the feedback, emails, calls, etc. Appreciate it very much. A couple different ways you could listen to us. One is on your radio, KDOW 1220 AM. You could also listen to us live online at kdow.biz. Although we would prefer that you download the podcast, and that way you could listen to the show at any time if you can't listen from 3 to 4. You could go to RERadiolive.com and download the podcast, or you could go to iTunes, Stitcher, all the different places that you find podcasts or apps. You'll be able to download the podcast and follow the show, listen to us at any time. We're a live show. We love your feedback and comments. If you'd like to interact with us during the show, there's two ways you could do that. One is a toll-free number, 1-800-516-1220 during the show. The other number to use as a text line or any other time is 408-838-9060. Let me invite my guest in, Mr. Chris Ling, mortgage manager for NerdWallet. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. Chris and I met back in August at the Inman event in San Francisco, and real interesting, all kinds of interesting goings on, of course, in Inman and in and around real estate, and very interesting what these guys have started here. So it's exciting. We're going to talk a little bit about NerdWallet, what it's about, the ins and outs, and how you can find out more information as well. Again, if you want to text any questions during the show, 408-838-9060. Chris, maybe we get started. If you could just tell the listeners a little bit about your background and how things got started with NerdWallet, and then your daily responsibilities and activities with NerdWallet.
Great. So my background, I spent my initial years in finance and investment banking. Then I worked for a stint in the renewable energy space, so helped expand solar energy internationally. And then the entrepreneurial bug hit me. I started my own company in the overall dating space, helping couples find events to go on. And ultimately, my team was taken in by Match.com. So we joined Match. It was there for about a year and a half, and then post that's when I came across NerdWallet. And so at NerdWallet, at the company level, we're a go-to resource for making and managing decisions. So we help the consumer by providing that clarity across what's really best for them. So whether they're looking for a credit card, insurance, a mortgage loan, or investing advice, we have the content, the tools, the products to really guide them through the process and educate them. My role at NerdWallet, so I head up the mortgages business here, and in particular, when we think about mortgages, that encompasses the home buying aspect too. So we have a variety of content that covers educational topics for first-time home buyers, but then we have a variety of mortgage products too, like our mortgage rate tool, a few partnerships that allow folks to really figure out what's the best mortgage option for them too.
Great, very good. So is so you have, I would say maybe you could talk a little bit about, you did roughly the real estate. Let's stick to that for the kind of the real estate landscape. How is it changing, and how do you see this being more effective and efficient for the consumer to interact?
So one high level trend that's occurring that we're seeing in this space is that folks are going online more for their questions. So that when talking about real estate, a majority of folks are beginning their search online when looking for homes. They're starting at one of the home search portals. They're looking for an agent, whether they find it online, say on a site like Zillow, or they ask their friends for that. But access to information, whether it's on a mobile phone or a tablet or an app or the standard website on a desktop, is becoming much more ubiquitous. So versus traditionally before, it was a lot of these billboards, these, like the bus stop stands where you see them, but this is largely, the trend has gone more towards online usage.
Got it. Very good. So you have the tools in there in terms of the landscape with helping people with the mortgages related to real estate, whether it's a refinance or purchase. What about what segment of the business, Chris, or I should say the percentage of business right now, are you guys, you're obviously an offer to the credit cards, to the mortgage. Is there one or the other? Are they kind of an equal level that you're trying to go after, or what is the strategy in terms of the different offerings on your website, your services?
Right. So when NerdWallet was founded, roughly 6 years ago, the primary business was on credit cards, really to help folks figure out what the best credit card was for them. Say if they wanted to get the best travel rewards credit card or cash back. And so that was the genesis of the company and how it grew. But we realized in order to hit our mission of providing that financial clarity, we had to cover more than just simply credit cards. And so over the past few years, we've expanded to a number of related verticals, banking to insurance products to investing, as I mentioned before. But, so we bring in a lot of our customers through online search and through Google. But, while most of the traffic, is coming from the original credit cards, we're seeing really strong growth among all the verticals that are newer.
Very good. And I see you guys partnered with, so tell me a little bit about the partnership with Syndio. I know the folks over there, some good people. How's that work? Do you work with them on the mortgage side as part of the mortgage offer?
Yes. So met the Syndio team and the CEO and founder Nick about a year ago, and it's been great. So with them, we evaluated the many different mortgage brokers out there, and when considering the mortgage broker landscape, Syndio represented a newer model of that was transparent to us and the consumer, given that their team of mortgage brokers or advisors, as they call them, are all full-time employees. And one major distinction that we saw in choosing to work with them was that their advisors, a majority part of their compensation is based off of customer feedback, which aligns really well to our mission and really giving the consumer the right experience. And so, we announced our partnership back in September last year and have been allowing folks to come to our site and then talk directly with one of their mortgage advisors. If a borrower wants more of that high touch, the educational experience, and might not want to read through a certain article or navigate themselves, they're more than welcome to talk to one of our mortgage advisors at Syndio.
Got it. Very good. Well, how about how is it changing the real estate landscape? Talk a little bit about the agents and how that's working with your company.
So the real estate agents are a really interesting partner for us because, when we look at the overall home buying journey for the consumer, the real estate agent, more than 70% of people are using a real estate agent to find their home. So we see that where we have a strong presence online with our content and tools that we produce. The real estate agent is with their client offline, showing them houses, bringing them around, and that's a very, very valuable touch point for us that we want to work with them on. And so, in particular with the real estate agents, we realized that there was a need for them to further enhance their online presence with their websites, social media, whether it's email, and then so we leveraged our content offering, given that we currently syndicate our content across a few major media portals, and we leverage the same product to offer to them to empower them to, hey, we'll provide you with our educational and quality content that you can then syndicate onto your site, which in turn gives them a content base of knowledge. Sometimes they get asked questions by their clients that they might not know directly off the top of their head, but now they can post our content onto their website, use it to engage their clients, and essentially, whether it's through email or social media, they have another outlet for their clients to turn to when their clients have questions. Got
it. How different? How do you see the difference? I mean, you're right, Chris. Everything is really starting online. The research, the review. I mean, it's the statistics bear out. 75-80% of people, they start their search online for property, real estate, information, mortgage, financing. Everything is it's just natural. It's going to it's really going to continue to build that way because of the millennials, and then going forward, these kids now are just born with a device in their hand. So, that's just the way it's going to be. So how does this kind of match up and compare? How would you say your company, your website, and what you guys offer would be different than, say, like a Zillow or a Trillia and some of the real estate markets that are in that space?
Mm-hmm. So some of the home search portals like to really have a large base of people coming in to look for homes, and finding a home can range from the types of users where you're set on buying the home within the next 6 months, or perhaps you're maybe more aspirational that you're perusing on the home search site because you want to plan for the future. But we're not focused on the home search side. We actually partner with Zillow on the mortgage marketplace to show different rates.
Okay, so you guys that's really not what you're trying to do. You have some partnerships there, but the focus is not to search and to land the real estate part of it.
No, yeah. Our primary focus is to provide consumers with the right advice on selecting what their mortgage options should be, and so we've extended the funnel to the real estate side because it's a long process for some folks. It could range from 3 months to over a year when you're looking for a home. So we want to make sure that we provide the right values across the process.
Got it. This falls under the fintech in terms of. Do you see any other offerings coming with NerdWallet, or in terms of you have the mortgage services, the credit cards you talked about, and some other, there's companies that offer personal loans, student loans, auto loans, different things. There's everything's really moving in that direction, in that umbrella. So I want to talk a little bit about that, but what we're going to do is take a break here, and when we come back, if you could answer some of those questions and really how you see this industry shaping up over the next couple of years, and what kind of numbers will be changing in terms of people getting mortgages and a lot of these other services online. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. If you have any questions for Chris Ling, he's the mortgage manager of NerdWallet. Great, interesting information. Everything and anything is moving online, as most of you know. If you have any questions, text them to us, 40. A little bit about that, if you would, Chris. I know a lot of people, recently they're hearing about fintech, and what is it, and what kind of direction is it going? And maybe if you could, just spend a couple minutes to give our listeners a little bit of idea of, how the landscape is changing. I think everybody knows or feels like, okay, more and more activity, services, are happening online, efficiencies, cost savings, consumer convenience. But maybe you could talk a little bit about the fintech movement and how you see that really changing the landscape of the kind of the traditional, let's call it the traditional banking and finance, the way people see it today. Yeah.
So if we, as I think about the different trends in other industries that have happened, so you take the Ubers of the world, the transportation industry, having that instant access to that service, that product, if we call it the on-demand economy, the convenience economy, it's, aspects and traits of that are being translated to the fintech, arena, where you're seeing these online developments of services, really providing value in a efficient fashion throughout all the different industries. So, for example, on the investing side, the rise of the robo-advisors are making it extremely easy to invest for the future and figure out what's the right allocation for your retirement or your overall savings plan. We're seeing a growth in folks on the online loan space as well. So definitely touches upon the mortgage lending side on how online is a greater and greater distribution for online lending. But overall, it's, the trend is that, the millennials, the, so-called digital natives are, they expect instant access, recommendations, and being able to, utilize these services, whether they're on the go, on the phone, because whereas before, maybe 5-10 years ago, you're fine spending all your time talking to somebody or doing a web browser. But the way the user behavior has changed is that, folks are, spending 5 to 10 minutes when on their bus ride or commute to work. They're, spending a few minutes in the evening again while they're, watching TV. But it's these short intermittent bursts of activity and so keeping that in mind from the user standpoint and then designing products that apply to them is now seeing a big popularity in how the fintech companies are developing their services and products.
Got it. Well explained. Thank you. So most of us that understand this business, you still have the component. And Nick and I had this conversation. I think he was on the show a year or so ago, and we talked to him at the event too, Inman event with Syndio. And the challenge so much in the industry, the mortgage industry, is that to streamline the processes, for people to go online, fill an application, a lot of that is really improved in the way you could get the initial, process started. But until we could find a way we talked about this, to speed up or algorithms in terms of underwriting, until you still have a physical file that has to sit in front of an underwriter, someone that literally has to look through that paper file. So we could put together the systems, the processes, the initial application, those types of things. How do you see that changing or shaping up over the next couple of years? Are we actually going to get to a point when we bypass, you think, the so-called traditional underwriter, and there'll be a different way to do that, to process a loan?
Yes, and we're already seeing improvements that are trending towards that, with some of the online providers and services, introducing new applications that make the application process a lot more streamlined, where before, if you're piecemeal emailing documents back and forth, now there are providers coming out with new products, or even startups working on new services that, really streamline the process from when you're getting pre-qualified and pre-approved to up until the application and then closing process. So definitely I think that's where the space is trending towards. That makes it efficient for the borrower, but also ultimately for the lenders too, in helping them reduce the errors and accuracy of the overall loan product.
Right. And I noticed too, you guys, that this home. Tell me a little bit about. We're going to take a break here in a minute, but when I come back, I want you to talk a little bit about the home affordability calculator. And you talked briefly about the mortgage calculator, but more just to really explain to the consumers, how they could really use these tools by going online and make it easier and more seamless instead of searching around and trying to figure out what's best for them. All right, we're going to take another quick break. We're talking with Chris Ling. He's the mortgage manager for NerdWallet, an online service here, offering mortgage services, credit card, and much more. If you have any questions, 408-838-906. Mortgage advisors, just across the board, interesting dynamics that are taking place for sure. Chris, there seems to be, obviously you have to have, establish the service and to be really getting noticed in terms of the fintech area. There's more and more interested investment parties, investment funds, and really in this general area, it seems to be there's money out there available to be invested now if you have a proven product or something that really has some promise. Has that really ramped up the last couple of years in this area?
Yes, so definitely have seen an increased level of investments across, a variety of different companies targeting, whether it's, financial lending, investment services, with, ourselves, for example. But there's that increased interest on, really finding the right investments for folks to, improve and track their financial efficiencies, depending on whatever life stage they might be at. So if you think about how a consumer goes through their various life stages, say you just graduated, you started a job, you're working on paying off your student loans, that's definitely an area that there's been an increased interest in on, student loan refinance that we're also covering as well. But then as you move on, say perhaps you need a personal loan to finance something. You're buying a car with an auto loan, which auto loans are also increasing in terms of the total amount of auto loans that are being used. But then, going forward, say you're getting married, having a family, buying a home, and then, longer term, of course, thinking about savings, retirement, and investing. And so, the full spectrum of services are coming into play, and then there are opportunities and services arising in each of those segments.
Very good. Where do you see this marketplace with the in the Bay Area where we all operate? Now, before I say that, do you guys? So this is online. So I guess the first thing before I kind of get to this next question is, the majority of the people that visit the website and use your services, is there a demographic in terms of geographical areas, I should say? Are most of them in California, or are they all over the place, or what's the percentage of that?
Yeah, the geographical distribution of our users is pretty spread throughout the U.S. Of course, we have a small pocket of international folks, but within the U.S., California is of course a big market for us. But then if you look at the major metro areas, those are also some of our highly trafficked spots where users are searching from. Got it.
Very good. And do you see more international growth, or is there so much just to really be done in the United States, Chris, that you just got to kind of take the first step first? Or I guess what I'm saying is your marketing and a lot of your efforts, are they going in more to attract the U.S. markets first versus thinking about international stuff?
Definitely focus on the U.S. market right now, where there's a huge opportunity to be had in each of the each of the areas that we're focused in. But that being said, having just come from the Inman Real Estate Conference last week, we did get asked by some of the brokers that traveled internationally to attend the conference on asking, hey, well, when will your services be available in our country? We would like to be there, but we're still solely focused on the U.S. market right now.
Got it. And what do you see as again today? And we're just entering into 2016. Other than the services you guys are offering now, can you clearly say, you know what, Joe, or say to our listeners, I could really see us probably starting to offer this or that, this service or that service that we may not be offering now, or something that may be coming in the future that we may not be thinking about?
Yeah. So when we break down each of our services at NerdWallet, there's many different business lines that we're growing here. But if we look at it in the context of NerdWallet is providing that financial help across all these topic areas as like one uniform product, then it begins to make a lot more sense where we're the consumer, we're the trusted point for consumers to go to ask questions about, say, student loan refinancing or get advice on buying their first home. But it's being that providing value across their entire life stage, which no one's really done well yet, and that's the space that we're going after to be that point of resource to really allow consumers to feel like they have the freedom to do a lot more, so they don't have to worry about their various financial questions, but we have their best interests in mind, and that this allows them to free up more time, whether it's saving money by choosing the right account or eventually being financially independent. Great.
Do you guys have? Do you also have educational videos? I know a lot of the companies now are going with clips of videos, and people the visual. Most people are visual, and they'll really tune into something that's a little less than 2 minutes in terms of an educational video. Are you doing any work with that, or plan to do any work around what you're doing online or on the website with that video work?
Yes, we have a growing and very strong creative team within NerdWallet, and so we've experimented with videos in the past, incorporating them into our content pieces to measure the overall engagement as like short 1 or 2 minute videos. Where we are fairly strong right now currently is with a lot of our infographics. So our creative team publishes a ton of infographics highlighting various financial topics that pave, say for we recently did one last year, giving the breakdown of all the different loan types from the conventional mortgage to FHA loans to USDA loans that really makes it digestible, easy to understand for the reader.
Yeah. All right, we're going to have to take our last break. When we come back, we're going to continue. We're going to finish up with Mr. Chris Ling. If you have any questions you'd like to text in, 408-838-9060. This is Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Industry and much, much more. Kind enough to spend the hour with us. And so, Chris, you talked about some of the things you could see changing, or I should say could be adding maybe in the future. It sounds like anything around, I'm guessing, financial education, financial anything that could bring people to the site to help them, make better decisions and empower them with different tools. And then from there, I'm guessing that the idea is whether it's, credit card, mortgages, and maybe some other services, and then when they feel like they've really got to a point where they need a person or someone to help them, then the next step would be to do that with them or access someone like that would call them or they'd meet with, or what's kind of the how does that work step by step as you see it?
Yes. So if a user comes and reads a few articles within the mortgage and home buying section, they may then go and assess their overall affordability. From our affordability, they could go and utilize our mortgage rate tool. But say they want to talk to someone live, and then through our partnership with Syndio, they have access to talk to a mortgage advisor to assess their options. And so in that statement alone of what the user just did, they looked at content, they used the tool, they gotten some feedback on their current rates, and then they just talked to someone in person too, or on the phone. And so that type of outreach and service provided was all done in a fairly quick manner for the user. And so really expanding upon that process is where we're aiming to have the right balance for as we develop our next products for the mortgages side.
Very good. Very good. What's coming next for you guys, getting the exposure out? Obviously, you're doing a lot of stuff online and education and partnering with, key strategic partners. What type of big events? Inman is going to be back in San Francisco in August. Is that correct? Or anything else happening around the Bay Area? Yeah,
so Inman SF is coming up in August, and that's a big one for us. We're going to a few, other conferences coming up as well throughout the rest of this year. But really, on the real estate side, we're looking to, rapidly continue to scale our number of partners that we have, from the real estate brokers to the agents to associations, and really highlighting the content offering that we can provide to them.
Got it. And if someone wants more information about the website, is it the best thing to go to the website, or is there a phone number, email? What's the best place to really find out more about what we're talking about today in your company?
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in learning more about NerdWallet, they can go to the main URL. It's NerdWallet.com. And then for anybody that's interested in leveraging our quality content base of what we call NerdWallet Wire, real estate agents, brokers can go to nerd.me/agents. That's AGENTS.
Perfect. And so it sounds like, to summarize things before we let you go, Chris, really a service offering for the directly to the consumer, but also the real estate broker side to help them. So there's two active things going on here that you're trying to serve the needs of both.
Yeah, and so we'll work on providing the best experience for the consumer online, and then of course online, it's really connecting the offline and online worlds together with our agent and broker partnerships. Very
good. Do you see any strategic partnerships and maybe you can't elaborate on it in the near future that would help you guys add value to what you're doing right now, or do you just really evaluate each thing as it comes along and find out if it really makes sense for your offering before you guys evaluate, or is there anything in the plans that you could share?
Nothing that I can share right now, but of course, as we announce partnerships, we definitely publicize it, and happy to let you know if we have any big items coming up that we announce.
Yeah, it'd be great. If something comes up, do you think it's noteworthy, check in, let us know. We'd love to talk about it and interview again. It's been really, really great getting back together, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon. If we don't, we'll see you at the Inman event.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, Joe.
Thanks a lot, Chris. All right, we're going to have to take off for the day. Thank you so much for everyone for joining in, for listening today. Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you to our wonderful guest, Chris Ling, with Mortgage Manager for NerdWallet. This is Joe Cucchiara. Have a great afternoon. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's